Well, I've been warned about the weather here in Hout Bay. When you stand outside, it starts raining. If you come inside, it stops raining. So that's exactly what happened here today. There was a bit of a rain stop play at the end of the last hour. The rain started bucketing down. So we moved onto some shelter, and now it's not raining anymore. So we've decided just to pop outside. So excuse us if we move back under there. Listen, it's at the harbour where we're broadcasting from this morning. We're in Hout Bay, and it's quite an interesting area, to say the least. And there's so many different factors influencing and affecting the relative communities that live here. Let's tackle some of those issues now. And joining us on the program, we've got from Tshepo Moletsane, he's a community leader from Masiphumelele Township, and Beatrice, who's a community leader from Hangberg and Imizamo Yethu Townships. So good to have both of you on the program. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, so we talk about this being a picturesque seaside resort town of Hout Bay. It's absolutely beautiful, it really is. But in and amongst the beauty lies a lot of social issues. Just paint a picture for us, Beatrice. What are we dealing with here?
In Hout Bay, you have, like in Hangberg, on the mountainside, I suppose a lot of people will remember the 2010 war we had here. On that side, we have the community where those that's born and bred here stays, and then just a little on the left and on the right hand side you have what we call the heights, where the rich is staying, and then you have a third area in the village side where there's somewhat also rich guys, and then you get Imizamo Yethu, that's on the way when you come in to Hout Bay.
So basically you have got the ultra rich living side by side to the ultra poor, but not necessarily living together, kind of living separated by monetary value.
Yes. Yeah, I would say it's more like a difference in salary bracket, where you earn like 2-3 zeros, and then I earn like 5-7 something zeros. And I think in today's life, it's almost like that people see you with that. If you don't earn a certain amount, then you don't get the respect that's honored to you. It's just a sense like, if you don't earn this, if you don't look like this or look like that, then it's just being a degrading thing. So,
Tshepo and Masiphumelele, is it very much so the same situation?
Yes, I would say we've got the same challenge in Masiphumelele. Remember that Masiphumelele Township is a community that is dominated by African people, black people in particular. And as we speak about the number of population, we are talking about close to 40,000 people in the area. That has been confirmed by Census 2011, which brings a serious challenge to the community in general, because what we are not getting properly is the issue of land. In 2014, we have conducted public meetings, 2 critical public meetings, whereby senior officials from the city, led by the executive mayor, was part of those public meetings. We even went further to say, let us meet people that are taking decisions, so that we really attend to this housing challenge in the community. We also met with the Premier of the province, whereby we have presented our demands to the Premier. Immediately from those engagements, there was an agreement that the matter will be considered and be properly attended. Unfortunately, since from 2014, nothing has happened. But what was important, it was that out of the land issues that are affecting the community, about 4 pieces of land were identified. One was about 148 hectares in Warduk, which form part of the ward, because Masiphumelele is a Ward 69 area in Fishhoek. Then we have also identified 70 and 79 hectares and 5 hectares of land. The 5 hectares of land, though it was also a privately owned land, when we approached the city of Cape Town in the presence of the executive mayor, she also confirmed that at least it's a piece of land that can be properly utilized. And that information was also shared with the MEC for Human Settlement, Mr. Bonginkosi Matikizela. And there was an agreement that at least in terms of the price, the market value, it's only 5 million rand, which was affordable. But I must tell you the truth that since from 2014 till now, there was no consultation, there was no communication, everything just collapsed.
So everything has collapsed, therefore. So nothing's come of this. That's housing, and that. But there's this one issue before I bring in our next guest, and that's social issues, which we haven't spoken about. And I believe that drug use amongst this community is rife, and it's a very, very big problem. Just give me an idea of how bad the problem is.
The problem is like so bad. I'm on a group called the Peace and Mediation Forum, and I'm the coordinator for education and higher education, where we have the problem with kids as young as grade 2, grade 3, that is sometimes sitting and sleeping in class because they come like from the mountainside, and they were busy helping some of the poachers, some of the guys we call the poachers. And that's the way we try to make our living, because here is like almost nothing. And all the factories and stuff that's closing down, and we have big problems within the fishing industry also, as we know, with the factories closing down. And in this fishing village, that's mostly what our people do, working in factories. So.
Well, I mean, I think you're leading me into the next interview. Thank you for talking to us on the program. And this was Tshepo Moletsane and Beatrice, both community leaders from their respective communities. But I'm going to bring in now just to talk a little bit more about the fishing and the issues that Beatrice just raised as well. Pedro Francisco Garcia, he is from the South African United Fishing Front. Pedro, thank you very much for joining us. Now, Beatrice, as she was concluding, talking to us about the fact that we're seeing things closing down in this area, fishing being really not flourishing the way it was, and many people out of work. Talk to us a little bit more about what is happening. Paint the scene.
Look, first and foremost, I think we're dealing with global issues in terms of illegal fishing, depletion of stocks. But I think within the South African context, with allocation processes as they have unfolded now over the past 2 decades, there's been some real sort of misjudgments on the part of the department in terms of how the allocations have taken place. We are dealing with a small-scale fisheries policy at the moment, but simultaneously we're also dealing with the commercial rights allocation process, and we're on the eve of those announcements coming out now. Now, whether the small-scale policy is going to be successful or not, there's huge questions and challenges around that. We, in 2013, we made a submission to the Portfolio Committee regarding the policy, and we are taking a position, not a hostile one, but I think a more realistic one. That position hasn't changed in terms of the policy itself. Will we be able to provide rights which are economically viable for our people? What is the status of the ownership within the policy itself? Is able to stand up in a constitutional court? And some other issues around the small-scale policy as well. Everybody, it's almost been promoted as the panacea of the fishing industry for the small-scale fishers, but it certainly is not. We're still waiting for the minister to announce the split between the resources split between the various sectors. That hasn't been forthcoming. So our people, quite honestly, don't know what is lying ahead for them. Now, the policy might have been written and it's been done with good intent, but the reality of it is it going to work or not?
And well, that's a question I think we should ask. And I know that Craig Smith is here. I'm hoping he's still here from the Department of Fisheries and Forestries. And perhaps what we'll do is actually put the two of you together to talk about this. And you can express your interests and also talk about the problems associated with it. And perhaps he can give you a little bit more clarity. So I know you're going to be around. We're going to talk a little bit more. We've got to go back to Joburg for some headlines. But I really want to not leave the issue of the fishing, because it seems there's a lot of confusion around it when it comes to the fishermen, and a lot of queries around that. So we'll try and get some clarity a little bit later on in the program. But right now, as we head up to 7:30 on this Friday morning, with the sun nowhere near rising at all, let's get you some news headlines where I'm sure the sun is shining. Palesa, I leave it to you.